Our next topic is biogeochemical cycles. All living organisms, whether plants, animals or microbes, need a constant supply of energy. And why do living organisms need energy? Because all living organisms have to carry out various life processes like respiration, digestion, excretion, reproduction, regulation, transportation, growth, etc. Other than energy, there are various chemicals which are required by animals, or let me specifically say, for example, human beings. So, which chemicals or which nutrients are required by human beings? Our body requires vitamins, vitamin A, B, C, D, E, K. We require some minerals also which are also termed under nutrients as calcium, magnesium. We require carbohydrates, proteins, fats. We require fiber, etc. in our diet. So just like human beings, plants also require various chemicals or nutrients for the proper functioning of their body. And which are the nutrients which are required by the plants? Nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, sulfur, iron, boron, zinc, copper, manganese, molybdenum. The nutrients which are needed by plants and animals are required in adequate amounts, neither more nor less. So what are these chemicals called as nutrients? Nutrients are chemicals which when taken in adequate quantities fulfills all the requirements of the body or fulfills all the functions of the body. In case of human beings, a nutrient is a chemical substance in food that maintains the body and also helps in carrying out its functions effectively. In general, I can say that a nutrient is a chemical substance which is required by any living organism to fulfill all the functions of the body. And these nutrients are required in adequate quantities. Now, why does our body need nutrients? One basic reason that we have quoted in the beginning is that we get energy from these nutrients. Second, growth of the body is possible with these nutrients. Repair of the wear and repair of the tissue is possible because of these nutrients. And all our body functions are properly maintained and carried out with the presence of these nutrients in the body. So some of the vital nutrients that our body needs are carbohydrates, proteins, fats, water, vitamins and minerals. Carbohydrates are a source of energy and they also provide us with fiber. Proteins, they are the basic building blocks of life. The cell of our body, the tissues that are built up in our body or the DNA in our body is basically made up of proteins. Fats help in cell repair and they also help in storage of energy. Water is a solvent, it acts as a lubricant. It also helps to transport the gases and nutrients to the different parts of our body. Water also helps in temperature regulation of our body, that is maintaining the body temperature. Vitamins, they act like enzymes and they bring about various chemical reactions in our body. Minerals, they are required in very small quantities and they are involved in enzymatic functions. They help in maintaining the bone structure and they also help in carrying out the nerve impulses. So from these nutrients that we consume in a day-to-day life that we get from food, you get a very clear idea that these nutrients play a very important role in our life. And if there is a deficiency of any of these nutrients, then you know that we suffer from some deficiency diseases. Neither of these nutrients can be consumed in excess, because if we consume these nutrients in excess, again it can lead to some of the diseases. So from where do human beings and animals get the nutrients? Yes, we get them from food. And these nutrients like carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals, they are organic compounds because we get these compounds either from plant or animal source. But what about plants? Plants get the nutrients basically from the soil. From the soil, the plants take up these chemicals or these nutrients. And from which part of the plant will the nutrients be taken up? It is from the root and from the root hairs. So these elements like nitrogen, phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, sulfur and so on, whatever chemicals or whatever nutrients that are absorbed by the roots and the root hairs of the plants are inorganic nutrients. That is, they are not they don't have their source in plants or animals. These are called as inorganic nutrients because these nutrients are not obtained from plants or animals. Rather, they are obtained mainly from the soil. So the plants will take up these inorganic nutrients from the soil, and these nutrients go through a series of changes, and these chemicals are converted into food. That means now what is the plant doing? The plant converts the inorganic nutrients into organic compounds. And this organic compound, like the carbohydrate if you say, during photosynthesis, it gets stored in the plant body in the form of food. Plants will consume this carbohydrate because plants also have to carry out their life processes. Now when these plants are eaten by the consumers, the organic compounds from the plants is transferred to the body of the consumers. It may be human beings, it may be animals. Now when the animals die, the organic compounds which are present in the body of the animals is converted once again into inorganic nutrients or inorganic compounds by the decomposers like the bacteria and the fungi. And the inorganic nutrients which are taken up from the soil converted into organic compounds by the plants. From the plants, the organic compounds enter into the body of the animals and human beings, and from the body of the plants and from the body of the animals and human beings after the death, once again the organic compounds will be converted into inorganic compounds or inorganic nutrients by the decomposer. So what is happening here? The nutrients or the chemicals which are taken from the environment passes on to the biotic components, that is plants and animals, and after the death of plants and animals, the biotic components will once again return these organic nutrients to the abiotic components, that is the environment. So here this is acting just like a cycle. So once again let us try to understand the cycle of nutrients with the help of this flow chart. Can you see soil at the top of the flow chart? Soil. What does it indicate? That the inorganic nutrients, like the big list which we have seen in one of the previous slides, like calcium, potassium, phosphorus, sulfur, nitrogen, hydrogen, and so on and so forth. So many nutrients we had seen in the previous slide. Where are all these nutrients present? In the soil. These are called inorganic nutrients. Why inorganic nutrients? Because these nutrients are not obtained from plants or animals. Okay, they are in the soil. So they are inorganic nutrients. Then what happens? From the soil, the plants will take up these inorganic nutrients. These inorganic nutrients will undergo a series of changes in the plant body. The plant converts it into organic compounds. The plants will utilize the organic compounds and store the organic compounds in the body. These plants are eaten by animals. So from the plant body, the organic compounds are transferred to the body of the animals. Isn't it? Now when the animals die, or when the plants, even when the plants die or when the animals die, the decomposers will decompose the body of the plants and animals. What does the body of plant and animal contain? Organic compounds like carbon, hydrogen and oxygen. The decomposers will break down the body of these plants and animals and convert the organic compounds once again into inorganic compounds. And where do these inorganic compounds go? Once again, the inorganic compounds mixed with the soil. So this is a cyclic flow of nutrients from the soil to the plants, and plants to the animals, and animals to the decomposers. So this cyclic flow of nutrients from soil to plants, plants to animals, animals to decomposers, and from decomposers back to the soil is called as a nutrient cycle. The nutrient cycle is also called as a biogeochemical cycle. So what is this biogeochemical cycle? I said the nutrient cycle is also called as a biogeochemical cycle. So the word biogeochemical cycle can be split up into bio, that means biotic system, geo, that means earth system, and chemical, which means chemicals or elements which move in the form of a cycle. Now, where do these chemicals move? The chemicals move through these four parts of the earth system. The earth system is made up of the air, which is called as the atmosphere, the water part, which is called as a hydrosphere, the land part, which is called as a lithosphere, and the biosphere, which is made up of all the living components. So biogeochemical cycle is basically exchange of chemicals or exchange of nutrients that takes place between atmosphere, hydrosphere, lithosphere, and biosphere. It is the biotic and the abiotic components which are present in the ecosystem that help in driving the cycles. There are many biogeochemical cycles. There is carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle, water cycle, phosphorus cycle, sulfur cycle, and many more. But in this chapter, we are basically going to focus more on carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle, and oxygen cycle. So, what is the definition of biogeochemical cycle? Biogeochemical cycle is the cyclic flow of nutrients within an ecosystem. I elaborated the definition by saying that the cyclic flow of nutrients from the soil to the plants, plants to the animals, animals to the decomposers, and from the decomposers back to the soil. In short, we can say that the cyclic flow of nutrients within an ecosystem is called as the biogeochemical cycle. There are two types of biogeochemical cycles. As you can see, the gaseous cycle and the sedimentary cycle. The name gaseous cycle tells us that the transportation of the nutrients takes place through air, that is from the atmosphere, and even through water, that is hydrosphere. Why hydrosphere? Because you can see a list of chemicals that I have mentioned below. The nutrients that are cycled in the form of biogeochemical cycles are C, H, N, O, P, S, C, A, K, and there are many more actually, but I have taken a few selected ones. So out of these you can see the underlined ones, that is carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen. Okay, these are the nutrients which are transported in the gaseous form. And here out of these, that is carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen, and oxygen, we know that when hydrogen and oxygen combines together we get water. And therefore here we are considering that in case of gaseous cycle, the transportation of nutrient also takes place through water. Okay. Now, in this case, atmosphere and hydrosphere form a reservoir of various gases. Now, what is meant by reservoir? At particular stages of cycling, any of the element may get stored and accumulated in a particular place for a long period of time. For example, calcium may get accumulated in the rocks, so the reservoir for calcium is the rocks. Oxygen gets accumulated in the air, so air forms the reservoir for oxygen. So these places where the nutrients get accumulated for a long period of time are called as sinks or reservoirs. So in case of gaseous cycle, the reservoir for elements or the storage place for elements is either the air, atmosphere, or water, that is hydrosphere. How are these elements transported? Through the medium of air. So elements move through the atmosphere. And which elements or which nutrients are transported in the gaseous cycle? Elements like carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen are circulated in the gaseous cycle, and therefore in gaseous cycle we have the carbon cycle, the hydrogen cycle, the nitrogen cycle and the oxygen cycle. Sedimentary cycle. The name sedimentary cycle tells us that the transportation of nutrients takes place through sediments, that is soil or minerals, or through rocks. So, what is a reservoir for the nutrients? The reservoir for the nutrients or the reservoir for the elements is either the soil or the sedimentary and even the igneous rocks. Now these elements or these nutrients move from land to water and from water to the sediments, that is the soil or the rocks. Now which are the elements that are circulated through sedimentary cycle? Elements like the nutrients which are not underlined here, phosphorus, sulfur, calcium, potassium, are the elements which are circulated through sedimentary cycle. So we have the phosphorus cycle, sulfur cycle, calcium cycle, potassium cycle, which come under sedimentary cycle. So here this gaseous cycle and sedimentary cycle you will have to study in the form of distinguish between. So once again distinguish between gaseous cycle and sedimentary cycle. In gaseous cycle the reservoir for elements is atmosphere or hydrosphere. In sedimentary cycle, the reservoir for elements is soil and the sedimentary rocks. In gaseous cycle, the elements move through atmosphere, whereas in sedimentary cycle, the elements move from land to water and from water to sediments. Elements circulated in gaseous cycle are carbon, hydrogen, nitrogen and oxygen, whereas elements circulated through sedimentary cycle are phosphorus, sulfur, calcium, potassium. In the last video, we learned that energy flow is unidirectional. That is, it is a one-way process. The energy that we get from the sun never goes back to the sun. But the flow of nutrients in an ecosystem is a cyclical process, because you have seen it in the flow chart that how the elements or how the nutrients travel from soil to plants, plants to animals, from animals to decomposers and decomposers back to the soil. So flow of nutrients in an ecosystem is always a cyclic process. How? As I said, all living organisms need nutrients for their growth. Which are these nutrients? The nutrients like oxygen, carbon, nitrogen, calcium, phosphorus, iron, etc. are circulated in the ecosystem, and they are recycled from the biosphere to the living organism, and from the living organism after their death back to the biosphere. So these nutrients are taken up by plants, they are passed on to the animals, that is consumers. Eventually, when both plants and animals die, the bodies are decomposed by the decomposers, and the nutrients which are trapped inside the body of the living organisms are released back into the biosphere. So the nutrients are now once again used by the living organisms. So we see that the flow of nutrients in any ecosystem or in an ecosystem is cyclical.